I could do this in my
Charles,
sleep. But
exactly. I want just like cookie cutter, like.
Pilot.
Yeah, this is so easy to me. I don't want LaQuisha James.
They have
who
that like
comes up,
pilot voice.
and she's just like, "Hi, ladies and gentlemen, pray for me."
And the truth is, it's just this is a creation that.
Looks like Charlie Kirk has made the internet mad again yesterday, or I guess a recording from last night, and everybody's having a absolutely massive meltdown over comments he made, mostly in jest, about thoughts that now creep into his head when he gets on an airplane and the pilot isn't some grizzled old white guy. I think he was partially joking, at least in my opinion. But he also, there was some kernel of truth there. And the reason there was a kernel of truth there is because of diversity, equity, and inclusion. People never thought about this before. People never had any concerns about, their pilot being up to snuff before. And now people do. And of course, the internet is calling Charlie Kirk a racist. It's been 84 years, she says. Here's part of the clip. Alex Cole, who is a black pilot, allegedly, hashtag resist, and calls him a racist for this comment.
And that's why I think this United story and the DEI story hits so hard, because we've all been in the back of a plane when the turbulence hits, or when you're flying through a storm and you're like, I'm so glad I saw the guy with the right stuff and the square jaw get into the cockpit before we took off. And I feel better now thinking about that.
No, I mean, like, you want to go thought crime? Like, I'm sorry. If I see a black pilot, I'm going to be like, boy, I hope he's qualified.
Well, that
Now that's what everybody's mad about. The issue is because he's only thinking that now because of what's been revealed in this investigation, or this kind of expose.
That's the
you wouldn't have done that. You wouldn't have done that before.
That's not an immediate.
No, you wouldn't have done that before.
That's not who I am. That's not what I believe.
It is the reality the left has created.
I don't necessarily. I mean, I don't care. I know that, like, I don't view that as an overtly racist comment, because not only, I mean, the context is right on the screen. It says DEI in the cockpit. Like it's just, I would also maybe add women to that. And as many people know, my wife is a pilot. Very competent one. You see, Charlie Kirk's on a remarkable character arc right now. This is Patriot Takes. I don't know who they are. Dedicated to research and monitoring, exposing right-wing extremism. Okay? Charlie Kirk blamed DEI for his racist comment about black pilots. He also implied he doesn't want LaQuisha James flying his plane or a black lesbian operating on him. Okay. He said it poorly, to be fair. He should have led with, because we now know, we saw the United Airlines CEO say, oh, we need to hire 50% more black people or something like that. Some sort of, quota, race quota, which, Mark Cuban says doesn't exist. But, his point is that, he's worried about, did they get there because of their skin color? And I think that that's a fair question now. Now, ultimately, this is, going to piss some people off. But he's not wrong. Oh, we're going to go back to the Tuskegee Airmen. We're going to go back to some military trained pilots from 100 years ago. like I think that, so if I look at Charlie Kirk's actual comment or his quote unquote doubling down, which I don't think he's doubling down. He's just saying, hey, look at former FAA safety team representative Kyle Bailey joined me on the whole diversity pilot quote unquote controversy. Are safety outcomes being imperiled by companies like United that are forcing diversity, equity, and inclusion, racial and gender quotas on pilots? Now, people are pushing back and saying, they still have to go through the same training as anyone else. And you would hope that's the case. People are trying to say Charlie Kirk is racist because of this. I don't think this has anything to do with race, more so how they've been weaponized. Jordan Peterson, live by diversity and equity, die by diversity and equity. These guys act stupid in order to bait the right and generate ratios because they get paid more money. That's Ed Krasenstein, of course. Ed knows exactly what Charlie's saying, that racist hiring policies give him pause, not that he thinks race plays a factor in skill. And here's his comment, his reaction to it. I made a logical statement. In 2023, 19% of United pilots' core was minority or female, which was already the highest among any airline. United CEO Steve Kirby bragged that the airline would mandate that their next pilot class would be 50% female and minority. A few questions. 1, are there enough candidates to fill that 50% quota? 2, why are 81% of United pilots white men currently? Is it because they happen to be the best pilots? Should we just assume it's because woke United is super secretly racist? Or is it possible white men simply tend to be more interested in flying than other groups? If white men land plane safety, what's the problem? If hiring based on merit, why aren't there more minority and female pilots? And that's, fair. Their CEO is also a drag queen. Does this automatically mean equally qualified minorities and women are getting passed over, or are there other explanations? Why are more nurses and teachers female? Is this because society is anti-male, or is it because women are drawn to these professions in greater numbers than men? Essentially, these questions, are very well ordered and well placed that essentially fly in the face of this, diversity, equity, and inclusion stuff. The reality is, yes, people have preferences, and those preferences lead down certain career paths. I don't think, I'm not worried about having a black pilot or a female pilot. I wasn't until now. Where I'm concerned that they got pushed through to make a quota. I don't think that that's, I don't think that that's a racist thing to say. I think that we have the words of these people who are saying, hey, we're more interested in people's skin color than, anything else. That's our number one priority in hiring is skin color. We know what it's done to the movie industry, right? Every analysis we have based on similar quota-based affirmative action programs results in lowering standards to meet these quote goals. For example, Harvard lowered admission standards 20 to 30% for blacks versus their Asian and white counterparts. Will United lower the criteria for new pilots hires to meet their goals like Harvard did? Can United guarantee equal safety outcomes if it meets this quota? We have been a victim of our own success. Praise God, in the last 25 years, we haven't had a major airline crash. That is rare. Airplane crashes happen frequently in other parts of the world. We assume landing and flying planes is brainless work anyone can do. It's not. It's high stakes, difficult, and intense work. Of course, there are qualified black and female pilots, but when you socially engineer racial quotas that far outstrip current demographics in a given field, especially one where the lives of passengers are on the line, it's fair to question whether someone receives the job because they're the best or because it's politically expedient. Screaming racism does not make the plane land safely. Jeez, I can't read. And I 100% agree with that. You know, you have this. I don't think you're a pilot, but that's okay. I'll explain it to you like you're 5. On behalf of every pilot in this country, well, we'll see if they speak for every. By the way, this is a private pilot, looks like. And an 18-year-old progressive, him, okay? You have to pass a colorblind exam 6 to 7 times before making to the airlines. These exams are based off the Airman Certification Standards. What? What? I don't even, what? That doesn't even make sense. I don't even understand where that's coming from or where that's going. And of course, people just resort to making fun of his looks when they can't defeat his arguments. Now, there are minimum requirements, there are minimum requirements to be a pilot, but he's asking out loud, hey, are these standards going to change? Because United Airlines has said that we're more interested in the color of our pilots than, anything else.
When I get on an airplane, I want my pilot to be like, hi, this is Chad. Maybe like a little bit of a Southern accent.
Chad Buckworth here.
No, Chad.
Blake is fine.
This is my 31,000th hour. I'm kind of bored, honestly.
Yeah, I could do this in my
Charles,
sleep. But
exactly. I want just like cookie cutter, like.
Pilot.
Yeah, this is so easy to me. I don't want LaQuisha James.
They have
who
that like
comes up,
pilot voice,
and she's just like, "Hi, ladies and gentlemen, pray for me."
And the truth is it's just this is a creation that the left wanted because
and they think you can't say anything about it because they'll call you a racist. And
they proved his point. It essentially proved their point, and he proved their point. He talks about. He doesn't want to have a surgeon who's a black lesbian because, again, it just makes him think that they were hired not based on skill. Matt Walsh says, no, it's not racist. Don't be ridiculous. The point that Charlie Kirk is making is that when you hire people based on DEI instead of skill and merit, you create this kind of wariness and suspicion, which I agree. DEI policies have done that, not Charlie Kirk. Of course, a black pilot could be perfectly qualified. But when United announces we're going to hire more black pilots, we are left to wonder if any particular pilot is the one that's there because he's the best or because he fits the demographic quota. Get rid of DEI and all forms of affirmative action, and this concern disappears. Couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more.